Hey guys, this is your Elite Four preview video, and literally right before the Elite Four, I have fought Hau and Gladion recently. Fought the Grass Ghost Owl Pokemon, which was kind of cool, but obviously no match for my Fire Dark Pokemon. And I honestly don't know who the champion is going to be. I kind of don't think it's going to be Hau or Gladion, just because I beat them already, and Hau's after the battle with Hau, it kind of made it seem like that was it for him. You weren't going to fight him again, just in the way it seemed. I don't think it's going to be Millie because she doesn't have any Pokemon. I don't think it's going to be your mom because she's passed out somewhere. I'm kind of hoping it's the Professor. There's also this... Gary has been mentioned in this game by his uncle, the Professor Oak lookalike. So I'm kind of wondering if it'd be a wild theory, but maybe he'll show up. Or maybe it'll be somebody I've never seen before. I think it'd be cool if it'd be the one Professor. If he like created a Pokemon League just to become the champion, which is kind of a jerk thing to do. But Pokemon that didn't make this team for a variety of reasons include Palisand. I don't have any particular reason for this one. I just I don't usually have a great reason for a Ghost Pokemon to be on an Elite Four team. I've used Mismagius before, but it was kind of definitely the sixth man of that team, sixth woman of that team, I guess. And I already have a ground Pokemon, so no Palisand. Not using Golisopod, even though it's a very good Pokemon, but I do kind of have Bug represented already, and I don't necessarily need 3 bugs. I also have a water Pokemon as well, so it's a good Pokemon. I wouldn't be surprised if I faced him in the Elite Four somehow. Not using Serena. I mentioned before that I was more worried about Dragon Pokemon than necessarily something a Grass Pokemon could handle, and at the time it didn't seem like this Pokemon did much else than use a Grass attack. It has since learned a Fighting attack, but this team was already pretty set. I did end up catching this Dragon Pokemon, and I'm not terribly impressed with it. It doesn't have very high HP, and its attack and defenses aren't spectacular, so didn't end up using it. First member of our team is Poliwrath. There's a bunch of different things I'm prepared for. Obviously, the 4 members of the Elite Four, which I'm pretty sure are the Kahunas. It'd be a nasty surprise if they weren't. And this one handled the Mudsdale pretty well, so it's going to be on the team simply for that reason. It's also a water Pokemon, so I'm supposed to face a rock and a ground Kahuna member of the Elite Four, so hence this Pokemon being there. Since it also has the fighting attack, it does something a little bit extra. So that's what he's there for. Got Ribombee, who is here for a couple of reasons. First of all, worried about dragons, so I got a fairy Pokemon. Also needed another fast Pokemon, because I have a bunch of slower ones, and I needed a Pokemon that had higher special attack, or at least good special attacks. So that's what she is there for. Hits hard on Bug and Fairy, and can paralyze and also heal itself. Got a Mudsdale, who is beefy ground Pokemon. It's got a fighting move, best fighting move I could teach it. Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Counter. This is not like the Kahuna's Mudsdale. It doesn't get stronger defense every time it gets hit, but should hit pretty hard. Got a Vikavolt, who I actually used a Heart Scale on to learn Bug Buzz as opposed to I think it was Bug Bite, or I think it was X Scissor that it had. So hits hard on the special side with Thunderbolt and Bug Buzz. It also has Flash Cannon, which hits rock Pokemon hard, and it also is going to hit any fairy Pokemon I happen to fight. So that's what that's there for. I gave it agility because I feel like speed is the weakness here. So maybe I use agility, it survives an attack, and then it just goes on to sweep, hopefully, maybe? I have a Muck, which is definitely the first time I've had Pokemon like this for the Elite Four. It is Dark and Poison, which I guess means I have two Dark Pokemon. But I got a couple Bug Pokemon and a Fairy Pokemon, so that'll counteract the fighting that it would not particularly like so much. And Muck is part poison too, so he's not going to take as much damage. But he has Crunch, Toxic, Gunk Shot. I played around with the attacks of this guy a little bit since when before I used TMs and all that, he had like 3 poison attacks. So I went ahead and gave him Toxic to make sure if he wants to get a Toxic off, he can do that as opposed to relying on Toxic Fang. Gunk Shot is your physical poison move, and Explosion, because why not? They give you the TM, and I didn't have anything else, so if all else fails, this thing is just going to explode. Last but certainly not least, my starter, Incineroar, Fire Dark. It's got Darkest Lariat. It can't learn Throat Chop through a hard scale, but I decided not to get that, since I like Darkest Lariat. Honestly, this one, if I had more hard scales, I probably would have taught it something else. And now that I look at it, I might teach it something instead of Thrash. Not sure what that's going to be. Maybe Acrobatics, in case it has to fight a fighting Pokemon. So it has Darkest Lariat, Thrash, Flare Blitz, which is a hard scale move, and Flamethrower. If I had another hard scale, I may have taught it a Dragon move. Flare Blitz hurts itself, so I decided to keep Flamethrower on there so it could continue to do a fire move without necessarily destroying itself. Again, I might change Thrash into something else, but this is my team. I will be recording each of the Elite Four battles and the champion, so stay tuned for that.